Alright, here we go. Welcome into game number 2 of the Platinum Ace match between Team Kessel and Galaxy. Spawning in the left side of GSL Metropolis in the purple color. He's up 1-0. He can bring home a very clean 2-0 best-of-3 win with this next game. He's our purple Zerg player. It's LVMatterhorn. And spawning in the clock base. In the pink color, he's playing random. He has drawn Protoss for this game. Playing for Galaxy, it is Leave. So Leave needs a win in this game to stay alive. It's a best-of-3 series to sort of ideally decide the fate of the two teams. Galaxy has active claims of victory for this week, so the best Matterhorn can do is bring this to a 3-4 match score and a 4-4 overall map score, which basically would just mean that his team's in better positioning, I guess, later on for playoff spots, that sort of thing. So as EVP, of course, Matterhorn doesn't know this yet. He's sending his Overlord. This will actually scout his opponent first, so that's going to be pretty valuable information to him. Not that there's a lot of deviation for Zerg openings. The biggest deal is going to be that Leave has actually put this pylon on the top of the low ground, or the high ground, excuse me, and it's going for Gateway Expand, rather than going for Forge Fast Expand. It may not even be a Gateway Expand. It could be a 4-gate, I guess. But there we see Matterhorn going to get in. He spots the Nexus. He's not going to go any further, which is kind of weird, and spot that assimilator. Maybe just not want to keep giving away where he spawned. But this drone should reroute, and there it goes, headed off toward the main base of his opponent. Matterhorn going to throw down that spawning pool first. I guess that was a precaution just because he didn't know what race his opponent is, and also just a lack of scouting information. He doesn't see a pylon on the low ground, which may worry him, and he will get up. He'll spot the gateway on top here, and he needs to get over and see the gas. That's the other important bit of information from him. Well, maybe just hide that drone for later. Matterhorn going to throw down his hatchery on, I believe it was 17 supply. I didn't note the exact build from him, sorry. Yeah, this is a little bit of a longer cast. After this, next week I'm going to be doing Benevolent Morons versus Guns and Roaches will be the first game, and then the same Galaxy team will be taking on Team Anarchy as our second game. So this is our last week 5 match. We'll go right into week 6 matches. I'm not going to do tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is team practice night for Team Composite, so we're going to avoid that. And we see Leave has added on a second Gas Geyser. Matterhorn really needs to scout this. This is Zealot going to get in and do some damage to that drone, and there, he will spot the Gas Geyser and be like, oh, what the... Ugh. He probably hasn't fought against a 1-base build in quite a long time. So this might be something, a little bit of memory's sake, I guess, for LVMatterhorn. And we'll see what he wants to do with this. We see no gas taken as of yet. He's only got his spawning pool down. There's no units yet either. And just going to continue to drone up. This drone being so annoying. Second gateway now down, and there's this sentry going to start to give chase as well. And this is just a huge group of units, and a little bit of metagaming coming on from Leave. After letting his opponent see the double gas, see the gateway back in the main, he's going to throw down a Nexus. So maybe trying to take a little bit of advantage of his opponent. He has forced out 2 Gas Geysers as well as a Roach Warren from Matterhorn. Granted, those aren't going to be the worst things to have going into the mid-game, but hopefully Matterhorn doesn't commit too much to his defense here, or he may wind up falling a little bit behind economically. So a really savvy play again. We saw him do, I wouldn't say a similar thing in Game 1, but going for the Nexus, or the Command Center first, threw off his opponent again. So just kind of smart placement of everything. We do see the robotics facility being planted down at the natural for Matterhorn, and I'd love to see him try to gain a little bit more scouting information to know exactly what kind of push is going to be incoming. Probe going to kind of suicide himself in, and he does see the 2 spine crawlers building, and will probably be pleased with the result. We do see he's sitting on 3 queens and 2 spine crawlers, which isn't the most overcommitment that Matterhorn can do, and he'll probably feel really safe. He does really need to get vision over the middle of the map, even so much that it wouldn't be a bad thing to see a drone at this watchtower. If we look at Matterhorn vision You see, he's going to suicide the Overlord in here, and now is kind of the time where he'll go, he got me again. There's no gateway here, and nothing really on this pylon. So Matterhorn not going to be, I guess, too happy, but this way he won't overcommit to defense. He will have these 4 ropes, but he can find some use for them. He can knock down these destructible rocks or take map control with them. So nothing too bad. Matterhorn played this very smart, very intelligently, not overcommitting to defense at this point. But this Overlord will get taken down, and he will see the natural as well as a couple of buildings down here on the low ground. So Matterhorn now in a good position in terms of where his opponent is. He'll follow up with a lair of his own, and it looks like he'll want to hit an aggressive 2-base timing here, which is something we haven't seen yet. We've seen him play a couple of macro games now, and this is kind of exciting to see a little bit of a Matterhorn aggression. Gas Geysers number 3 and 4 being taken. We see the Observer headed down just to try and spot the 3rd base. It has just been taken. And now, Matterhorn with a comment, metagaming all over the place. And this has been an exciting series in terms of mind games. Again, mind games like this wouldn't work if you're playing a bronze or silver level opponent. They might just not scout or misread everything entirely. But these players playing very smartly, knowing that their opponent will pick up on some of the metagaming that is going on and respond correctly to it. But now Matterhorn adding on Gas Geysers number 3 and 4. He has his lair done, which is spotted by Leave. There's no evolution chamber, which is kind of weird, which you'll tend to see as part of the powering. There's a Spire thrown down. Was that in full vision of the Observer? No, it wasn't. So we will see some Mutalisks, and Leave isn't focusing on anti-air in any way. He's getting a lot of sentries. He's getting immortals, and this will be that 2-base sentry immortal push that has become so popular recently. Unfortunately, not great against Mutalisks. Sentries don't tend to deal well head-to-head against them. We see 9 sentries right now from Leave. That's quite a few. That's a very Huck-like number. But he's up to 6 gateways, and now they move out across the map with the 2nd immortal. He does not have an upgrade with this, it's kind of important to note. Typically you will see this be a 1-1 timing or a 2-0 timing even with these immortals, because that gives them just such power. But the Spire will finish up about the time this hits, and it'll be interesting to see how Matterhorn is or if Matterhorn is able to defend this. Seems to shoot the creep tumor, and now everything known, 20 Zerglings immediately started to try and counter this. Of course, Zergling's not the best counter to full sentry energy, and Leave actually going to take down these queens, really prioritizing getting rid of his opponent's creep spread. Maybe a little bit of too much emphasis placed on that, just being a random player, knowing how fearsome creep spread is. But in ZVP, it's not as important. But Stalker getting into Scout, and we see whole crawlers thrown down. Matterhorn even, I'm not sure if this is intentional or not, but these Overlords are actually going to slow up the push, whether this is intentional or not, to buy himself a little bit more time for these Spine Crawlers. Zealot gets in, and in come the Zerglings, drawing out a couple more force fields, not overcommitting to any sort of defense. Spine Crawlers now able to get involved in the fight. They are starting to poke down on these Immortals. Zerglings coming in from the 3rd base, able to get a little bit of a surround, do some damage, but more importantly, all these Spine Crawlers finishing up, and the army is basically gone for Matterhorn. There's still these Spine Crawlers to contend with. Both Immortals are dead. Sentries don't stand much of a chance. More reinforcement Stalkers coming in, and Matterhorn is helped. Zerglings coming in, there's a couple more force fields left. He does force field off the main, which is a nice little touch. But the Spy Crawler is doing so much damage, and more Zerglings coming over from the 3rd, as well as another drone for some reason. And that's all cleaned up. Matterhorn now at 65 supply. He's actually losing quite a few of his drones from the 3rd base. The 3rd has gone down. It looks like Zealots snuck in here without me noticing. Not on top of it today. But drones going down, 3rd base, the 2nd 3rd base, in fact, going down as well. And Matterhorn not out of it yet. He can clean this up with his Zergling force, and he'll re-add on his 3rd base. Leaf's still in a decent position. He's adding on his Colossus Bay, as well as a couple more of these sentries and immortals. The key point that has gone unnoticed by Leave is this Spire. There's 11 Mutalisks now, and exactly how much anti-air? There's 4 sentries. That's not enough to deal with 11 Mutas. He's adding on more gateways. He will have maybe a warp, and it'll kind of depend on the timing of all that. He has his first Forge on the way as well. So it was nicely defended by Matterhorn, and now he has an opportunity to put on some aggression with these Mutalisks. There's 5 of them headed into the main base with 5 more trailing behind. Or 6 more trailing behind, so this will be that total of 11. Bunch more in production, starting to pick off a lot of these probes, and it looks like a weapon may have just been spent, just judging by the way he's warping anything in. All of these probes going down, and there's actually GG from Leave. He's not going to try and stick it out. The Mutalisk count already just at 11, and there's only 4 sentries. He does have 6 gateways worth of production. He could maybe have made a go of it, but Matterhorn keeping Spire's secret was probably the best played move of the game. A lot of economic damage done during that push, and able to kind of trade army, but Matterhorn able to hold on with these spine crawlers, and then have enough gas to produce enough Mutalisks after the attack. And really well played by Matterhorn, kind of a surprising ending to that. But Team Kessel takes the ace match 2-0, and will bring back that point for his team. So we'll head in. There's the Kessel. Team Kessel takes the game and brings it back, a 4-4 map score for the week. A 3-4 loss, unfortunately, for Team Kessel. So Galaxy will pick up their first win of CTL. If we look at a match recap now, we can see Galaxy taking the match win 4-3. The map score will go to, won't necessarily go to Kessel, but it'll be tied at 4. Gatekeeper defeated Wolveus in the first PvP on Shakur's Plateau. That one played out fairly standardly. Excuse me, not too much to say about that game. Wolveus just kind of got caught taking an expansion, unfortunately. Hydra 1 defeating Mellow Hype in game number 2. That was a pretty well-played game. Hydra 1 just able to overwhelm with roaches. Game number 3, Raven Assassin taking it over Cam Panda. The story of that game was Raven Assassin playing very safe, very smart StarCraft, and able to defend against a lot of different attacks or attempted attacks from Cam Panda. Touche takes game number 4 over Hazardous, bringing that back to a 2-2 tie. That's the longest PvP that's been played so far in CTL, getting up to Mothership stage, in fact, and the Mothership really clinching the game for Touche. Diplodocus defeated Sleepy Panda in a PvZ on Muspelheim. That was just a really nice 2-base. It wasn't really Sentry Immortal, but it was Sentry Immortal push. And Sleepy Panda just never quite able to get up that massive Mutalisks that he needed. Ruffy defeats Falcon Punch in a nice TVT on Entombed Valley. Ruffy just kind of taking an advantage, killing a lot of his opponent's workers, and really setting Falcon Punch behind. And then Matterhorn takes the ace match 2-0 for Team Kessel to set them up in a nice position, a 4-4 map tie, and a 4-3 loss, unfortunately, for Kessel. So Galaxy takes the match 4-3. We head in, look at the standings after week number 5. Payback still on top, picking up another big win this week, and at 5-0. Team Evolution right behind them at 4-1, set up in great position in second place. They still have their game with Payback left to go. Or do they? Yeah, they do. Spinal Tap, Kessel, Unrivaled, Killer Pikachu, all at 3-2. That sort of bunch up between 3 and 6. And then teams within striking distance of the playoffs right now, Kingsmen, Team Composite, Guns N' Roaches, all at 2 and 3. Anarchy, Galaxy, Benevolent Morons, all with work to do, but of course nothing out of reach as of yet, in only week 5 out of 11. That concludes our casts of week 5 of CTL. For week 6, we will have 3 casts available for that. The first cast will be Benevolent Morons versus Guns N' Roaches. That one should be a lot of fun. That matches the number 12 team versus the number 9 team. So a little bit lower on in the standings, but should be a fun game nonetheless. And then we'll have Team Galaxy versus Team Anarchy to get, I guess, the bottom half of the standings. I didn't plan it out this way, but that's just kind of how it worked out. So we'll have the bottom 4 teams for next week. And those will be make or break games for those teams. A win and they're back in playoff contention, a loss and they're kind of dropping off the radar. And then our special cast for week number 6, shout out to several of the Payback players, including Trombone Ham and Lone Star, I believe, helped, as well as I think LV.Matterhorn, but put together a nice CTL ranking system. They've been ranking players based on their overall results so far, and they've picked out what should be the highest ranked games from the league. So we'll actually go through and we'll do all of the top players being cast, and that should be a lot of fun, a lot of really high-level games, and it'll give us some insight into tip-top level play from each of the leagues that we cast. So that should be really cool. I'll put together a little bit of a show for that, and maybe some graphics of my own. We'll see how enterprising I want to get. So those will be the 3 casts for next week. Please stay tuned for details. You can follow me on Twitch TV. That should give you notifications of when I'm going live if you want them that way. Follow me on Twitter. I always announce there. I'm at MerisTematicSC. And the YouTube channel where all the VODs will eventually be located is youtube.com/MerisTematicSC. Thank you for watching. That concludes week 5 of CTL casted by Meristematic. Hopefully you enjoyed the cast. Please follow me. Give me some love. You can leave feedback if you want in the forums, and I'll also announce there when I go live. Thank you for watching, and that'll conclude. Hope to see you guys again soon.